Hi guys, and welcome back to Still Color. I'm Kevin and you're now watching the new Rosalia album review, Motomami. First, before I get into review, guys, thank you for supporting us. This channel's been doing quite very well, so continue with the support. We are ever so much grateful, and we're sure to get more content, push out more content for you lot out there. Now, on to the review. Rosalia, an artist that I've been sort of interested to see what else she's going to put out with. Seeing that in 2018 she put out her, I think it was her second album. I think it was. It had so much like brilliant records to it as well. And one thing that I like about Rosalia is that she had the ability to mix the traditional Spanish music with sort of contemporary music as well. And loads of what I liked about that records were, records like such as Di Mi Nombre, I cannot even say I can't speak Spanish, Malamente as well, then Quini Saga La Luna. So, I mean, those were the records where, especially a record like Di Mi Nombre, it was like quite traditional to it as well, but she had such a beautiful vocal range and brilliant sort of production to it as well. And it's quite an interesting change on this new album. In this new album, she's sort of mixing more of the contemporary and less of the old. And I still quite like that, actually. I think she's managed on this album to include, obviously reggaeton influences and also some old influences in at least one of the records of the album called like Bulereas again. And yeah, it's got these sort of like Spanish sort of rhythm to it. So loads of the stuff that she's done in the past is also present in that record as well. And also some of the other records on the album as well. But most of the album is mixed in with sort of contemporary mix to it. And of course, that's one of the records, I think the first record, which is called Saoko. Again, it got this like reggaeton vibe to it. And again, one thing I like about Saoko is that it's not an obvious reggaeton rhythm. Obviously, you can hear it with the drum patterns, but it's not as obvious and as blatant. It feels much more muddy and much more grimy. And I quite like that aspect as well. Then it's got this interesting sort of jazz mix to it that just brings this, abstraction to the record. I think that's the best way that I can put it. Got, an interesting record, which is the collaboration with The Weeknd. It's got this, well, The Weeknd is basically singing in Spanish, and I honestly have no clue what they're saying. I have not checked in on the lyrics, but it does sound quite beautiful, and it does sound like an interesting sort of back and forth, a ballad between those sort of two artists there as well. So I do quite like that as well. So we got the record Hentai as well, which is an interesting, song name. And I'm trying to sort of look at the video, trying to sort of get some sort of gist to actually what she's sort of talking about, and so then go through the comment section. But again, I decided this time not to look at the lyrics again as well, because I wanted just to get a feel for the record and try to understand it that way, as if I would understand an instrumental record. And it's very much like a ballad as well. It's very much like a ballad as well. And I find this album quite interesting as well. I do find it as a body of work, it is quite cohesive. It is quite interesting, but I'm not quite enamored with it as I was with the last album. I think the last album, what made me so enamored was with the traditional music as well. It's quite interesting seeing that dichotomy between, and I guess it's because she's doing something completely different to what was being done, especially with Spanish. But again, I think she's from Spain, and most of the singers that are predominantly got a hold on the market are from South America as well, not actually Spanish singers as well. So it was interesting probably to hear that influence as well, but then also mixed in with the contemporary sound as well. And of course, she sort of stepped it up the notch, but she sort of reduced the sort of the Spanish influence as well. So that has kind of been much of a sort of change. And I think the instrumentation of the old as well had an interesting rhythm and interesting sort of pattern to it. And I feel probably because my ears are so used to this modern, contemporary sound as well, that it doesn't have that some differences. You get me? That sort of newness, even though it was old, quite weird. Yeah. Interesting record is a record, Candy. It's got this. She released one of the singles on the album as well. That's got this sort of 2000 feels to it. So this moody music that artists like, I don't know, what are the names? I've completely forgot the name. Like Dido, for example, would release as well. I'm looking at the singles right now. Dolerme, that was 2020. It didn't make the track list. I like that song, and Candy's got that sort of same vibe to it, although it is you know, backed with a sort of reggaeton and drum pattern as well. Not a bad song. I do like it, but I don't like it as much as the Lorme. But then the Lorme probably does come from the 2000s era of that type of music. So interesting. Yeah, it makes it quite hard to sort of, well, for me, I just don't quite sort of get into it. But we have another interesting record on it, which is Delirio de Grandeza. And again, that has, of course, an old instrumentation field as well, you know, kind of like a sort of like a bossa nova or a dance element to it as well. And then we get obviously the interesting sort of, I think it's Houston. I think this is not Houston. What do they call it again? 3-6 Mafia reference towards the end of the record. And that's incredibly interesting as well. I can't remember exactly what record she sort of sampled as well. And then again, that's the interesting distinction between the old and the past. But overall, I think it's a good album. It's a good album. It's a good album, even though I'm not quite enamored and I'm not quite, what's it called? You know, in love with it. So I'll give this album like a 7. I think it's a good album. I think it's sequenced very well. I think she's done loads of good things in terms of, you know, mixing the old with the new. I would like a bit of old, and I think that's just a personal preference. I think the runtime is quite good as well. It's easy, it's cohesive to listen to as well, and it's got some earworms like Saoko, but not as. I think the Saoko is one of the records that I think the only record that I feel like I really like. And then Delero de Grandeza as well. That's another record that I really liked as well. So I did find the sort of the voice towards the end, the sample voice, a bit interesting. I'm not sure if it's in a good or a bad way, but yeah, overall, very good album. Guys, let me know what you lot think about the album, what you like and what you didn't like. And yeah, so she's definitely one of the talented artists at the moment out, and I suggest to people to listen to some of her. I think the album she released in 2018, that, I mean, record like Malamente as well, or Di Mi Nombre, absolutely incredible record as well. So yeah, do check her out. And guys, with any sort of like comments, suggestions of other stuff that she's done, I'm definitely on the lookout for more Rosalia. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.